Hello and welcome to another World of Tanks replay, and today I'm playing in my E100 on, again, on Winter Himmelsdorf, and as we can see, the typical things are happening. Heavy tanks going up the hill, some heavies going down the path at the 7 and 8 line, and I see a problem to begin with, and that's that no tank other than the IS-8 on my team wants to take advantage of the empty flank on the far left. So I decided to take this on myself, and because I'm going alone I decide it's probably wise for me to load my heat rounds straight off here. It's going to cost me a lot of money, but if I'm on my own against whatever tanks are going to appear on this flank, the chances are I'll need to make sure every shot counts, as the armor piercing ammunition on this tank isn't the best for penetration. However, I do carry an assortment because you never know when high explosives could be useful. If I was left in a scenario against the Waffenträger Panzer IVs or the scout tanks, high explosives would be very useful. So, at the moment I move around the corner and take a hit straight away, and I'm seeing if I can support my teammates on the hill, and my first shot is a good hit, managed to give some great support on the hill, but I take some return fire. So, let's see if I can give any more support on the hill. Try and see if I can take this IS-8 out, but he's already gets killed. But I noticed that their E100 is up there. If I can damage their E100, it'll have great impact up on the hill. So I take aim at the lower plate and manage to hit it for a nice healthy amount of 729. So as I'm reloading, I'm just moving about trying to stay out of line of fire, and as my shell's getting ready to come back in, I begin to aim up again, hoping that the E100 will return. And he does. So aim at the lower plate again. Just waiting for a nice shot, and take it, another 600 health off him. So again I withdraw to begin my reload. And at this point the E100 begins to make a charge on the flank, so I managed to get an easy shot into the side of his turret, finishing him off. And here a Foch begins to attack me. Luckily for me, I think my tracks took some of the damage there, I'm not too sure. However, here he begins to continue shooting into my tracks, so I put one into him, doing 800 damage, and I begin to place myself so it's more difficult for him to penetrate me, and he just keeps hitting my tracks. So this is the point where I decide, you know what, I'm better off just attacking him now before he possibly reloads or repositions. So I move after him. He takes a hit, and that leaves him low enough for me to finish in a single shot. I took about an extra 400 damage for that, but it was worth taking the Foch out the game at that point. And now again I move back to supporting the hill. And as you can see, a T-57 Heavy was trying to take a shot at me there, but unfortunately I couldn't return fire, so I begin to pull back, hoping that I'll drop off his scout, and for some reason he forgets that I'm here. So there we go, that's a easy kill. Could have done that with an armor piercing shell, but didn't really have time to switch. And this scout tries to deal some damage to me, but unfortunately for him, he would find it very difficult to penetrate an E100. And also, unfortunately for me, I could have killed him had I had a shell a few seconds earlier there. So now that all that is left is an AMX 5120, 2 Waffenträger Auf Panzer IVs, and a AMX 1375 scout tank. So at this point I decide, the chances are, if I come across any of these tanks, my high explosive shell will be enough to severely cripple them, if not kill them outright. So I see the Waffenträger's been found, so I begin to retreat to find him, and the scout thinks he'll have a go. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to end well for him, and that's what I was talking about with the high explosive shells. Had I fired armor piercing, it may not have actually killed him. And this Waffenträger also makes an interesting move. He crashes up against the wall, hits my track, and I put another high explosive shell into him, winning the game. So now, on to the post-game stats. Hello and welcome to the post stats. As you can see, I obtained a first class mastery and also had the high caliber, tank sniper and a Top Gun medal. I also came out with 3,300 experience, but this was doubled as it was my first game of the day in the E100. I did potential damage to 7 tanks on the enemy team, and as we know I killed at least 6 of them, to deal a large portion of damage. Actually, I dealt overall 5,900 damage in the game, just showing how strong the E100 can be when you play it defensively and just you know when to advance and how to support your team. Had I gone up to the hill, it may not have gone so well. The tanks that I dealt with could have potentially flanked us and severely impeded our team's efforts. So I hope you enjoyed this replay, and hopefully you'll watch more in the future.